Hi. In this session, we are going to discuss about one project being two different projects. So I want to discuss with you about the fact that within one project there is a separate customers project and suppliers projects. And we can also consider that this means that there are different aspirations in one project because there are several stakeholders in the project that see the project differently. And if we don't really recognize the fact where our project's boundaries are and where, for example, the customer's project starts and our project ends if we are a project supplier, or vice versa, if the customer doesn't understand where the supplier's project start and where the customer's project end, the project gets blurred and actually there is no clear situation who is who and who wants to make what out of the project. So in a way, the project's goals get messed up and problems will follow. Okay, the question that I could ask that are we happy? Are you happy? Are we happy? And we could answer that yes, we might be very happy. And why? The reason might be that we, for example, had a great sales phase of a project where we sold the project to the customer. We might have had a great execution of the project and made a good profit out of that. The customer has paid us well. And then it even could be that we have a great service phase where we made a 10 years service agreement with the customer to operate actually the complex system that we delivered to the customer. So we are happy here. Now, conceptually, I want to emphasize the fact that we must look the project as a broader entity than just the execution. So here there is a pre-project phase. Here is the project phase. And here is the post-project phase. And actually, what is the sum of these phases? I call it system life cycle. In my earlier work, I called this extended project process, British standard from 2010. Later on called that as an extended project life cycle, but in my recent work I call this system life cycle, and the project is only part of the system life cycle. Okay, is our customer happy? Well, maybe the customer is not happy. And why would that be? Because of the preparation that the customer did for that particular project or delivery was insufficient. Maybe the supervision and control of the supplier was not that efficient, and maybe the customer concentrated on some other things when the supplier really concentrated on delivering the end product that was agreed upon. And maybe in the end, the customer even couldn't use the system that was built in the project, and it had to make the 10-year service agreement with the supplier who only did know about the system and how it is used. Okay, now with this picture here, I wanted to emphasize the fact actually that there are two projects within one project. And in this picture that we have now up here, you can see a similar kind of a picture that I draw in the flipboard. And there are also some milestones between these phases, where, for example, the supplier sees this as a contract, and the customer sees this phase, this milestone here as a kind of a order, and here the supplier makes handover, and the customer makes a kind of a takeover of the system. So there are two separate projects, and actually this requires that there are two separate project organizations. There are two project managers for both projects that should really focus on the interest of the customer in the customer's investment project, and in the interest of the supplier in the supplier's delivery project. And I think that only by recognizing that there are these two projects, this is kind of a good starting point for agreeing about goal alignment, agreeing about collaboration between the customer and the supplier, and so on. But if we just think that another party does a project for another party and there is only one project, so I think that there is really a danger that the project boundaries get blurred, and there are various kinds of aspirations, and actually in the end there is no clear understanding of who does whose project this is, and who should do what for which reasons. This picture here expands this a little bit and shows that it can be that in one project there can be more than two projects. So there can be a sub-project of a subcontractor under the supplier's project here, and so on. This picture just explains that as there are several stakeholders participating in the project, there also are several projects accordingly, if these stakeholders take a really considerable responsibility for delivering something that is a project-like entity that is connected to the one big customer's investment project. Okay, then I summarize in a way by bringing up the same picture that we had previously, that there really are two projects, the customer's project and the supplier's project. And I still want to give another visual view of this by taking up this final picture here. And this picture illustrates at the very bottom that there is the system life cycle, where there is feasibility studies, there are preparations, then there is the execution, and then there is the very long-term operations phase. The upper part of this picture also illustrates the connection of this project from a customer's viewpoint to investment calculation, where there are revenues and costs during the long operations phase, and how a customer takes a strategic view to this life cycle. So customer is interested in a planning horizon which is really long. And we also have illustrated in this picture lower the tactical and operational viewpoints that are typically given to the supplier. So the supplier might be interested only if given that kind of a responsibility is given to him only for the actual execution and some short guarantee period for the end product that it is it has delivered to the customer. So in one project there are several projects, there are several stakeholders. Accordingly, it's rather important to understand the project's boundaries, what belongs to your project, what doesn't belong to your project. And for that reason, it's important to know what other projects there are around that our project is connected to. Any questions? Okay, we continue. See you in the next session. Thank you.